Welcome to the IEP in a Minute series. In this module, we'll be discussing statewide assessments. My name's Caitlin Prevost. I'm a program specialist with the El Dorado Charter SELPA, and I'll be guiding you through the IEP in a Minute series, one section at a time. This section of the IEP addresses how the student will participate in statewide assessments and ensures that any needed supports or accommodations are documented appropriately. The California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, known as CASP, is the statewide system that measures student progress on the California Common Core state standards. In the CASP participation section of the IEP, the team must document how the student will participate in English language arts, math, and science testing. For students taking the Smarter Balanced Assessment, known as SBAC, the team must indicate whether the student will test with or without designated supports or accommodations. Be sure to select the appropriate boxes for embedded tools, the tools that are available within the online testing platform, or non-embedded tools, tools and supports that are provided outside the platform, such as a scribe or paper materials. When indicating the student's participation in CASP, only select code 90, not to participate, if the student will remain outside of the testing range and will not participate in the assessment before their next annual or plan review meeting. Otherwise, appropriate supports and accommodations should be identified. For students who qualify for the alternate assessment, indicate their participation and whether any designated supports or accommodations are needed. Next, indicate the student's participation status in physical fitness testing. If your LEA administers additional standardized assessments, accommodation for those may also be documented in this section. Lastly, for students under the age of 6, DRDP participation is required, and any necessary accommodations should be clearly noted. For the LPAC, indicate for each domain whether the student will be assessed with or without designated supports or accommodations, and note if non-embedded accommodations or unlisted resources are required. A domain exemption on the LPAC may be considered when a student, due to a documented disability, is unable to participate meaningfully in one or more of the domains, listening, speaking, reading, or writing, even with appropriate accommodations. The IEP must clearly document the reason for the exemption. These exemptions are rare and should only be used when no available supports or accommodations would result in a valid assessment of the student's skills in that domain. If the student is taking an alternate assessment to the LPAC, specify the domains being assessed and clearly document the name of the alternate assessment being used. For the standards-based test in Spanish, indicate for each content area whether the student will be assessed with or without designated supports or accommodations, and then list the specific supports or accommodations to be provided. As we close, keep in mind that aside from how students perform on statewide assessments, participation and test completion are critical. State accountability systems closely monitor participation rates. When students opt out of statewide testing, or if they do not complete the test, it negatively impacts the school's overall performance. Also, testing accommodations must align with those the student routinely uses in the classroom and should be documented in their IEP. Lastly, be sure to review and update assessment decisions each year to reflect the student's current needs. Thank you for joining me for this IEP in a Minute module. Be sure to check out the additional resources linked below for a deeper dive into today's topic. And remember, every IEP must be individualized to meet the unique needs of the student. The examples shared here are just that, examples. Use them as a guide, but always tailor the plan based on data, input, and what's appropriate for the student you're supporting.